Welcome. I'm Ada Kay, your deaf courtroom commentator, breaking down the gripping courtroom drama, providing ASL interpretation when possible, while making justice accessible to everyone. Grab your favorite cup of Java and let's dive in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome. Welcome to the show today. We've been live all day. We took a little break. We're hopping back on right now. We are here to talk about the Karina Cooper trial. She is going to be going live with her sentencing in a minute. So I thought I'd go ahead and do a case review, give a little background, and get us all caught up on who she is, what she did, because it's been a little minute and some people may not remember. We cover so many trials, y'all, so it's one of those things. Just one of those fabulous things. Okay, case background. Karina Sue Cooper of Pryor, Iowa, unalived her husband, Ryan Cooper, June 18th of 2021, first-degree redrum, prosecuted as a planned intentional unaliving, was alleged it was over a lover and co-conspirator who pled guilty before Katrina's trial. Karina was found guilty, hence we are here today for sentencing and victim impact statements. The case was unsolved for almost 3 years before Karina was arrested in February of 2024. The trial took place in a different county. It was moved from the venue of Tama County to Lynn County. During the trial, prosecutors presented evidence including digital messages via Snapchat between Karina and Danker, forensic reconstruction, bullet trajectory, back spatter, and footprints, and her behavior at the scene after the lead shooting. The defense argued that Karina's lies and incriminating behavior were born of fear, manipulation, emotional distress. They attacked the reliability of some technical and digital evidence, claimed no definitive proof. She ordered or participated directly in the red rooming. After about 6 days of testimony, closing arguments, the jury deliberated just over 3 hours and found Karina Cooper guilty of first-degree red room. Let's talk about some of those evidence, shall we? Let's talk about the digital message. Snapchat text between Karina and Draker suggested the coordination. For example, messages about shell casings before Karina calls 911. The message where she used to indicate premeditation, cooperation for the homicide plan. In the forensic evidence, the bullet trajectory, back spatter footprints, flashlight at scene, etc. The prosecution emphasized that Karina was there on scene and that her behavior post lead shooting, quote, setting on her husband's body, rubbing her face, indicated consciousness of wrongdoing or attempt to conceal something. Yeah, for those of you who don't remember, the boyfriend did the actual lead shooting. He straddled the remains of the body because it was lead shotted in the head, and she rubbed her face and body in his blood. Sick woman. There were some eyewitnesses to her behavior. The neighbor, friends, and family statements by people who observed Karina's behavior, interactions, and expressions of hostility towards her husband. Statements like, could shoot yourself in the face, dude. I put in the dude, could shoot yourself in the face was her comment, quote. Excuse me, I had to get a drink. Evidence of growing distance, secretiveness, and changes in the relationship dynamic. Allergies have been horrible. Another motive was also a $500,000 life insurance policy. The defense arguments and counterpoints were that of reliability of the technical and digital evidence. The defense challenged how reliable was Snapchat data and possible issues with the metadata, gaps in the messaging. Emotional state manipulation. The defense claimed that Karina was manipulated or coerced by Danker. Overwhelmed by fear, lies or misleading behavior were due to that, not premeditated, but out of fear of Danker. Lack of direction and proof. Defense emphasized that there was no smoking lead shooter or direct proof that Karina ordered or I can't say the word. That Karina ordered the execution and actual unaliving of her husband. She denied any doing whatsoever, that Draker acted alone. She was found guilty of first-degree murder, premeditated and intentional. The jury deliberation was relatively short, on or about 3 hours, give or plus. After closing arguments, under Iowa law, first-degree murder mandates life in prison without parole, so that's what she's going to get. Sentencing hearing expected. The defense is likely to argue mitigation and possible file for a new trial or an appeal. Surprised they haven't already. So here are the strengths for the prosecution's case. Multiple types of evidence. He had digital, forensic, and behavioral. All that together combined created a very strong circumstantial case. The evidence are premeditated messages ahead of time and planning. Motive was the insurance and witness testimony about prior threats. Hostility helped establish that mindset. Physical evidence placing Karina at the scene and suggested involvement. The potential weaknesses. Reliability in the interpretation of the digital evidence. For example, are all the messages truly fully preserved? No, they were not. Could they be taken out of context? Timing and authenticity and deletion issues? Yes, there were. The degree of direct versus indirect involvement. Since Karina claimed Danker acted alone, the question is whether the evidence actually tied her directly to the act of the lead shooting or only to premeditation and conspiracy. Depending on the legal standards in Iowa, proof beyond reasonable doubt of her participation is a must and is very necessary. Behavior after the fact could potentially be interpreted as multiple ways. Panic or shock rather than consciousness of guilt. Jury instructions about how to interpret such behavior was critical. Motive was insurance, maybe circumstantial, and defense could argue other possible explanations. Any procedural issue, stability of certain evidence, chain of custody and forensics, whether moving venue impacts fairness of this trial, whether the jury biased or improper instructions occurred, all of that will be taken up on appeal. So, overall, the prosecution appears to have had built a very strong and multifaceted case. The combination of the digital messages, forensic evidence, behavior at the scene, and motive make the conviction seem well supported and well grounded. The jury finding guilt after a relatively brief deliberation suggests they found the prosecution's narrative very convincing and beyond a reasonable doubt. The defense had plausible arguments about the character, fear, and coercion, and the complexity of interpreting the electronic and the forensic data, but those seem not to have been sufficient to overcome the evidence. Legally, it seems unlikely a new trial will be granted unless there are procedural errors or serious challenges to the digital or forensic evidence. Appeals might focus on those, or perhaps on whether the jury was partially instructed on things, properly instructed, on things like circumstantial evidence, intent, and um, a compliance liability. And there you have it. We will be having movie night. The movie hours tonight will be 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 Mountain, 7:30 Central, and 8:30 Eastern. Yay! And guess what we're watching? Da, 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 da. Greatest Showman. I love that. I love The Greatest Showman. Love, love, love it. Part of it is because I can't hear music. I feel it. 9 times 10, I feel it, not hear it. And this particular arrangement of music and this kind of music I can enjoy because it's got a lot of rhythmic variations that I can feel. So I'm looking forward to it. And I did have some hearing versus what I have now when that movie came out. We are currently, where is it? It said I should be able to, they've got a new feature. Why am I not able to grab it? Am I not able to grab it? Why not? That sucks. I set it up. Why does it not work? Let me get it back up again, see if it works. Work. So I should be able to do this, and then turn around and get back out of it. There it goes. Oh, wow. That's kind of cool. I've got new options and new features I'm so excited for here. If you ask a question, it automatically puts a question mark up if it perceives your comment as a question. Instead of me hunting and pecking, it shows me if something appears to be a question. Fabulous. Somebody asked me a question. Let's see if it works. StreamYard is expensive, but let me tell you, it's getting worth every penny. Allergy season. Where's my allergy meds? I love these little pill box things from Bear Bradley. Written down in there what you got. Allergy season is upon us, y'all. It is. Very much so. I have another small one like this I keep in my purse, and then I have a big one. I keep one in my car. Big one's in my car. Let me see if I can get this back up and running. It did! Woohoo! I like it. Y'all, I like being able to pop back and forth like that. That's nice. I think I like that format better. My little friend said, Miss Linda, that nice. Miss June, you doing good back there? I'm going to find some stuff for us to watch while we're waiting. Oh my God, The Most Beautiful Bride is in Funny Girl. I love that movie. Barbara Streisand, we were just talking about you. We were just talking about you. I wonder if we have any interviews with these cases. me search. Trying to see if they had any kind of interview or anything with the family in the hearings, but it doesn't look like it is. Let's see if we have it in the other trial. I don't see any interviews with him either. Hoping they do some family interviews. But I found it interesting that he went back there after being found guilty in a suit, right? A suit. They brought him out in the orange and white striped prison clothes. So the moment he was found guilty, they brought him out in the prison garb. So yeah, he had zero time. I mean, he was assimilated into his prison garbs pretty quickly, surprisingly. They don't always do that. I don't think I've seen that before, but in one case. Say hi to hubby. I see hubby. Hi, hubby. Miss June. Hey, Angela. Rhonda Gaines. Oh my God. Hello. Whoa, whoa, you beautiful doll. Hello, hello, doll. Hello, Dolly. Hello, Dolly. We liked Hello, Dolly. Well, hello. I miss my sweet Adeline days, and I found out yesterday. I found out where my old group meeting for rehearsal. I'm like, oh, but I was not dressed to go in there. I'm going to go meet people I haven't seen in 25 years. I'm going to look the bomb. I don't look the bomb. I didn't last night anyway. I've been working in home. I'm sorry. Everything's a song today. Rhonda, I'm sorry you're having to work, but I'm glad that you had an opportunity to pop in. Glad that you were able to hop in. Uh, yeah, I am looking for some trial stuff. Cardi B is everywhere since her trial, just FYI. She is everywhere. She's doing this circuit, but of course she's got a album that's coming out, so she's going everywhere. Hi, Evangeline. Oh my gosh. I watched this too. I need to see what happens to the witch. Yep. Oh gosh, y'all. Oh, I haven't turned this way all day. Oh, trying to find something for us to watch. Something that I don't have to worry about copyright on. Y'all, I gotta tell you, and I gotta start watching it again next week. The Matlock series with Andrea Bates. Oh, thank you, Rhonda. Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. Oh, Boo, thank you. Love you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we're going to be looking into that case. I haven't. That's in Danker. I thought he pled guilty. I thought Danker pled guilty. Am I wrong? I could have sworn he pled guilty. The movie for tonight is The Greatest Showman. I just can't help it. I just absolutely adore that show. I think that show is amazing. They did a fabulous job with it. I can't stand when I'm in Discord and you have all these numbers up. I have to get rid of them. I have to. All the alerts and everything. Let's see who's up. Who's going to come join us? It may be, I think his sentencing is in October. Yes. Thank you so much for your donation, Boo. We appreciate you. Yep, he sure did. I just think that there was no way you could claim anything else. I need a nap today and I'm not going to get it. I never get naps. Oh. I'm looking for cases, y'all. There's really not much going on right now. All of a sudden, I have a bunch of musicals up on my thing. Exit out of. Get me back home. Oh, no one stole my nap time. He did plead guilty of first degree. Oh, you're fine. No, you didn't steal my nap. I'm not one who takes naps. Although today I could probably do so. I think it's because I am really struggling with allergies today. And the allergy meds make me sleepy. Let's see what this judge does in the law.
And all the rest that they raised those concerns after they speak judge. In a situation that you had two defendants who did two very heinous crimes, it's a sad day when robbing someone at gunpoint.
This particular trial, let me get to this, see what it says. Natalie Fonseca and Nunez Reynolds were in court Thursday for the beating of an innocent man, slashing his throat and throwing him over the bridge into the river. Whoa, what a lovely.
The main story, right? The main issue here was the first case, where on the early morning hours of October the 8th, this defendant, Mr. Reynolds, and his co-defendant, Ms. Natalie Fonseca, robbed Mr. Moreno Ochoa at gunpoint. And they did so in his own van. They robbed him at gunpoint, they beat him severely. And then when they got him to the top of the bridge, they told him it was going to be his last night.
Thank you so much, Boo.
And then took him out of that van, pulled him back by his hair, slit his throat, and together threw him over the bridge. Now, my conversation with Mr. Moreno Ochoa, he told me, Mr. Olmeyer, once I hit that water, I thought I was dead. I grabbed my throat, and I slammed to shore with one arm. And the body camera would show, and you saw the photos, where he was on shore at that Cumberland. He walked there, beaten, bloody, barefoot. He could barely stand. And it was just only by happenstance that law enforcement was there. Investigator Martinez walked the court through the tireless investigation that he conducted to identify both Ms. Fonseca and Mr. Reynolds. And throughout that investigation, right after this situation, if that wasn't enough, they then went out shortly a week later, and to be clear, Ms. Fonseca was at Circle K, and that's where by happenstance, Mr. Sanchez is there, having known Miss Fonseca for approximately a year prior. He figured it was late, it was dark, he would be a kind individual and give her a ride home. And now, what Mr. Sanchez was saying to the court is, when he went to pay at that gas station, that was when he pulled out money and even bought her a soda. It was at that time that Ms. Fonseca saw the amount of money he had, and that's why he believes once he got to the house, disciplined Mr. Reynolds, then robbed him at gunpoint. So after throwing Mr. Moreno Ochoa off of the bridge, thinking he was dead, setting his van on fire, and thinking there was no other evidence, believing they were in the clear, he committed another robbery nearly a week later. And so then you have Ms. Fonseca who comes in here and says she is the victim. There was really no response I can give in that moment to such a blatant disrespect for the real victims in this case, Your Honor. Now, what is true is I do believe that because of Ms. Fonseca entering the plea, I think that was the impetus to Mr. Reynolds ultimately entering the plea. Now, as it relates to whether the court should give any concession to either defendant, the state would absolutely say no, Your Honor. Both of them deserve the maximum 30 years in state prison. You see, Judge, it may have been Mr. Reynolds who may have carried out that second robbery, but merely he was the way of Ms. Fonseca's will. Right? See, what I asked her was, without you, Ms. Fonseca, Mr. Sanchez never shows up at the house on October the 16th. She could not refute that. Without Ms. Fonseca, Mr. Moreno Ochoa never gets his throat sliced. You see, because he only met Mr. Reynolds and the demise of that night by way of meeting Ms. Fonseca. So it's the state's position that both of them are equally culpable in this crime, and they both deserve the maximum sentence. The concession was already given as it relates to their prior record, as well as their involvement when the state agreed to the cap of 30 years of state prison, and therefore the state would ask that the court impose 30 years state prison for Ms. Fonseca, as well as 30 years in state prison for Mr. Reynolds. We would ask that he impose the restitution. I think the court heard that both victims indicated that the money wasn't their main concern.
I know a lot of people have good mods. I know people have good mods, but I have to tell you, my mods are the best. They work hard. They're very kind. They're very giving. Always warm and welcoming. Have great ideas. I tell them, yes, this is my channel, but it's ours. And I work very hard at showing my appreciation. So thank you for recognizing my mods. To watch Karina's attorneys when the verdict was read, they didn't comfort her. They turned, grabbed, and started packing their stuff. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yes, we do. And that's one thing that I learned really early on in this journey, because this journey here is not the journey that I thought I was going to have, in all honesty. Let's get back over here real quick. In all honesty, this is not what I thought I was going to be doing. I started something called Jail Widow, which I've ignored. Probably ought to get back onto that a little bit. But school takes up a lot of my time. And I realized pretty quick by watching a lot of other YouTubers before I even did my own Jail Widow thing, which accidentally turned into this. It was a lot of toxic chats and a lot of very difficult chats. And I just wanted to have a safe place for, and it to be all inclusive, whether you're deaf, hard of hearing, blind, disabled, whether it's physical, whether it's psychological, whether it's a safe place for everybody. There are times that we do have to take care of business with some people. It doesn't matter what your abilities are. We do have rules, but I do my best, and my mods do a fabulous job. I got to give them huge credit because they see and take care of things right away. And we don't permit anybody to be bullied for their belief or their. Hold on, someone's at my door. Right back. Well, somebody was at my door. In this neighborhood, which we live in a nice place, but we live on a street that's a really main thoroughfare, and a lot of people cut through. Packages tend to disappear. I think my daughter sent this to me on her. I think if this is what I am thinking it is, it's from my daughter, because I know I haven't ordered anything. She's worried about her kitty cat. So anyway, we work very hard to create a safe place for everybody. Thank you very much. Yep, we want to treat everybody in chat the way we want to be treated. What on earth is this? Y'all, my daughter is worried about our cats adjusting to the changes of having another cat in the house, having a cat that was our cat that's here in the old shop was only 3.5, 4 weeks old-ish when I found her outside after a rain. There was mama kitties all over the place out there. And we rescued her, never lived anywhere else but the shop. So my daughter has been very concerned about the stresses. So she bought this calming pheromone for cats. Are you kidding me? I gotta let her know I got it. I see it, June. I'm going. Where is it? I saw a movie. June, I see no other conversations. The one, what is the current Discord channel? The one on Nightbot does not work. All you have to do is go up to me and right click on my little thumbnail and go to invite and click and copy that paste. Is that what you're talking about, June? Is this what you're talking about? Well, that's what she said is going to happen. So we'll see. I'm going to try it. All of my daughter. The court has not brought up their volume yet. Oh, Monkey Butt's fine. It's Mama Kitty, the 15-year-old Mama Kitty, that's not fine.
Good afternoon, everyone. Go ahead and have a seat. All right. We are on the record this afternoon in Tama County case EPI CR 018424, State of Iowa versus Karina Cooper. State appears today by Assistant Attorney General Israel Kodiaga, Assistant Attorney General Mike Ringel, and Assistant Tama County Attorney Geneva Williams. Ms. Cooper is personally present with her attorney, Aaron Hawbaker. On July 11th of this year, a jury returned a verdict finding Ms. Cooper guilty of murder in the first degree in violation of Iowa Code Sections 701.7 and 707.2, Parent 1, Parent A Class A felony. First thing we need to do today is address Ms. Cooper's motion for a new trial. I have had a chance to review the motion filed by Ms. Cooper as well as the resistance filed by the state. And we'll start with you, Mr. Hawbaker. Is there anything you would like to state further in support of your motion this afternoon?
No, Your Honor, we would stand on the plea.
All right, and then I'll turn it over to, looks like you've got the microphone there, Mr. Ringel. So, Mr. Ringel, is there anything further you would like to state in support of the resistance to the motion?
Judge, no, the state would rest on the record created in this matter at trial and just note that the greater weight of credible evidence favors the verdict rendered in this case.
All right. Well, as I indicated, I did have a chance to review both the motion and the resistance. The court can grant a new trial in a criminal case when the verdict is contrary to either the law or the evidence. A verdict is contrary to the evidence when it is contrary to the weight of the evidence, meaning that there is a greater amount of credible evidence supporting one side of an issue or cause than the other. In other words, the question before the court is whether there is a greater amount of credible evidence which suggests the verdict rendered was a miscarriage of justice. That is not the case here. I have considered all of the evidence in this case and the statements and arguments made by the parties in their related filings, and I find that the greater weight of evidence supports the verdict. Without reciting all of the evidence that supports the verdict, it includes Ms. Cooper's relationship with Mr. Danker and the messages with Mr. Danker both before and particularly the night and morning of the murder, messages which directly implicate Ms. Cooper and Ryan Cooper's death. Accordingly, the motion for a new trial is denied, and we will turn then to sentencing. At this point, is there any legal cause to be shown why judgment and sentence should not now be had that you're aware of, Mr. Ringel?
No, Your Honor.
How about you, Mr. Hawbaker?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Ringel, does the state wish to be heard with respect to sentencing?
Judge, the state is just requesting that the court impose a sentence of life in prison without parole.
Mr. Hawbaker, do you wish to be heard with respect to sentencing?
It's required by statute, Your Honor, so no.
Okay. Ms. Cooper, Iowa law requires that I give you an opportunity to address me before I render judgment in your case.
Not that we want to hear you.
There's no requirement that you say anything, but if there is anything you would like to say, this is your chance. So, Ms. Cooper, is there anything you would like to state at this point?
I respectfully say no, Your Honor.
All right. Then, Mr. Ringel, I understand that there are some oral victim impact statements to be made. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. There are two.
Okay. And I'm not sure who and where they are, but
And first, Judge Heather Cooper would like to make a statement.
all right. Good afternoon, Ms. Cooper. I'm going to have you go over there to that chair, please. And there's two microphones over there, but one of them's got a little, that one, yeah, if you could turn it on. And Ms. Cooper, we don't swear you in or do anything like that, but just going to ask that you give us your first name and your last name and spell them so we have that clear for the record.
Okay. Heather, Heather, Cooper, Cooper.
All right, and you brought something with you, and,
Yes.
Which is fine. Just want to remind you that court reporter here is going to try to get down what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm probably guilty of this as well because I was reading partly from the script. People do that; they read quick.
Okay.
So just make sure you keep it to where she can keep up with you. All
Okay.
right. Whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
Okay. Your Honor, as I said, my name is Heather Cooper. Ryan was my brother-in-law. I want to thank you for this time today, for our family and friends, to have a chance to tell Ryan's story and share our grief and pain. 3 years left living in fear, scared of the unknown. Were we next? Scared for our nephews and our niece. At first, we thought, was this an unknown grudge to a person, to the Cooper family? Then as rumors escalated and time with authorities, it became, could she really have done something like this? I watched my husband live in fear those first few nights, unable to sleep in our home, being first on scene, left horror images in his head and unable to sleep at night, worried for ourselves, worried for our dad. It's a fear I wouldn't wish upon anybody. Why did she put him through that? Was it her last stab? Were we that terrible to her? Hearing names tossed around, but nothing made sense. Houston. What was this about? She never explained. She chose to let us live in the unknown. Then the children. I will never forget those faces. Pure terror that morning. I sat in that vehicle hugging them fiercely, their aunt. Nothing but pure love and fear inside. How does a mother look at her child with fear in their eyes every day and not say anything? Our lives that day were forever changed, but nothing prepared me for this. The day verdict came in, I had an idea of how I would feel. Grateful. Justice was served, right? But it wasn't. It was a different kind of sadness. Honestly, it felt like a death, like she had died. Life forever changed, a family forever broken. She was my sister-in-law. We could forever laugh, made fun of our husbands together, talked about and vent about all the things that drove us nuts about them, but we loved them anyways. I thought we would always have that bond. We were family, even when we drove each other nuts or we pissed each other off. We were family. Then after it changed, things were different. She hardly came around. She was distant. She could not wait to get out of there, it seemed like. She showed up, sitting through our family Christmases, almost like you were forced. How'd she do it? Knowing she did what she did. Sick, disgusting. Were our lives really that bad? Your Honor, during trial, you were given a lot of information about the character of her. I want to share Ryan and what this world is missing. He was a quiet man, you heard many say. Gentle, kind, got along with anyone. If he wasn't in those shops, hanging around with friends, you could find him on the farm, two little boys in their cowboy boots falling shortly behind. He was the one that knew everyone. We would laugh because my husband would constantly get called Ryan, and we'd get, oh, there is another Cooper boy, mainly because everyone knew him so well. He was the one on the phone constantly for work. For a quiet guy, he sure was on the phone a lot. He was the guy that left his home in a disaster during a storm to go help the neighbor. He would go on family trips, and you would find him helping the owner out, not because he was asked or because he thought he needed to or needed anything in return. He was a simple man, kind, caring, thoughtful towards others. The pain of what he is missing never goes away. I heard once that when someone dies young versus old, you miss the memories that they never get to make. Ryan and Erin farmed together. It was a generational farm. Hearing stories of great-grandfather down to their dad is some of my favorite stories. They were brothers. Now they might have fought about the silliest things. Never sure who won. Stubbornness seemed to run in the family. At the end of the day, it all worked its way out. Maybe ending with a good beverage and a job well done. My husband would tell you the year before Ryan died was one of his favorite times in the business. They were finally getting the dynamic. Mom was gone, sister stepping into that role. It was a full circle family business. Something to be proud of. Ryan would have told you he could not wait to show his boys how it was done. Counting down the years, he could finally throw him up in that tractor and say, get it done. Gosh, he was happy. We were happy. Now there's a hole in the business. A father no longer gets to teach the next generation. That is not how it should be. That is something we don't get back. That is our forever broken family chain. There are 7 children in this story forever changed, forever broken. Ryan's oldest, now a young, fine man. Ryan didn't get to see him graduate. Ryan would have been so proud. He was hopeful that he would move closer and he could see him more. I can see it now, talking about his job and his cool car. Oh, Ryan would have loved to ride in that cool car. We would all laugh together, saying, boys and their toys. 3 children forever must live with that awful day in mind, suffering massive trauma no child should ever have to witness. They never received any form of therapy until they moved in with us. I kept asking, why not? They always seemed weird to me. Why would you not want to get your children help? Since they started, they all have said it's been very positive for them. They are forced to live in fear for 3 years. She was moving them to multiple homes. When they came to live with us, we would have to check the doors. They didn't like the nighttime. These are things that we still live with today. They want locks on their rooms to feel safe. How does a mother know what she knows? Watch her children that way. I will never forgive or ever understand. she putting them through this. Cousins have now become siblings. I even find them saying that sometimes. My husband and I have 3 girls, and they have to share their parents. Our nephews and niece talking about how they no longer have a mom or a dad. This is the part that is unfair. We did it without a beat. I would do it anything for those children. But we should not have to. Their lives should not have been broken and taken from them. We have spent the last year supporting and encouraging, never talking ill about her. No, that was not for her. That was for them. She is their mom, and they may always have some sort of biological bond to her. I would never hurt them, and that is why we don't do anything that could potentially upset them. Hearing we were made to feel by them like we didn't want them in our lives after Ryan's death infuriates me. We tried keeping in contact, always met with excuses or not even a return call. Maybe that was your form of guilt. As we move forward of a family of 8, I want her to know what she gave up. We will be at every baseball, football, volleyball, and whatever game they choose. I will sit in that stand and I will yell proudly. I want them to look up and smile, and I want them to know that they are loved and supported. I will help them with homecoming, proms, the boys to pick their tuxes, take that little girl to get her nails and her hair done, pick out that perfect dress. We will teach them to drive and prepare for the future, go to the college tours, help them in their dorms, and create the life they wanted. Aaron will step into that role that Ryan should have played, showing the boys how the farming is done, being there through the good and the bad days. We will spend forever showing them what a loving marriage is. When they find that special someone, we will help them plan that special day, helping that not so little girl anymore pick out that beautiful white dress. Aaron walking her down the aisle, looking at her saying, "Your dad would be so proud. He would like this one." When they start having families of their own, we will let them call us grandma and grandpa, loving those kids, taking them to all the lake and family vacations. Number one thing for them, we will love them and make sure that they are forever safe. Pray they won't fear trusting and loving others. I forever pray she did not damage them from loving. They go places now and it feels different. What once was happy memories her and her lover have destroyed. She destroyed so much of a positive future and ruined so much of a past. For what? Him? I don't understand. There were so many other options, divorce, seeking counseling. Why? Will you ever tell us? I will forever be grateful to the authorities that stay constant in our lives. For my husband, that never missed a week of calling. Honestly, it just became part of our schedule. They got to know his number well, checking and seeing where they were, making sure Ryan was never forgotten. How many times did she call? Maybe once, twice, in 3 years? 3 years, anger and mixed emotions, trying to decide if we would have to remain around her forever, never really knowing the truth. The detectives on the case became our family, supporting our family, helping us through emotions. We were met with support and kindness. We never would have made it through these last few years without the support of the family and friends and the community coming together, putting these kids first. Her friends became ours. Her family became ours. I know Ryan is proud. The guy always helping would be proud. She destroyed people, manipulated people, some in their most vulnerable times of their lives, claiming she had been through tragedy and loss and pain and could support. What kind of sick person does that? Was it worth it? This online, you say, relationship, was it worth it? Awful, deceiving person. She deserves the worst. But I'm tired of focusing on her. I want to plan trips and make schedules, hang out with friends, laugh at good times, make amazing memories. I don't want her to be the topic anymore. I want to enjoy life without hanging over us. So this is it. Last she will see of us. Last I will address her. Last I will care to give her any thought. She can now go to prison.
Mr. Engel?
Judge, thank you. Michelle Wilson would like to make a statement as well.
Good afternoon, Ms. Wilson. Ms. Wilson, if you could just give us your first and last name as well and spell them so we have it clear.
Sure. Michelle Wilson, MICHELLEWILSON.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. And whenever you're ready, you may go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, today's the day. The day I can finally speak out about how this narcissistic psychopath made the incomprehensible choice to rid her pathetic life of my brother, Ryan Cooper. I began writing notes for this statement over 4 years ago. The first note started just one day after Ryan's murder. The day we sat in the building right next door and learned who was responsible for this heinous crime. Ryan was my little brother, 10 years younger than myself. From the time he was old enough to walk, he was kicking around in cowboy boots and farming from the living room floor with his extensive set of red Case IH die-cast farm implements and his Peterbilt semi-tractors and trailers. That kid was no doubt going to be a farmer. As he grew up, he quickly moved on to dirt bikes, four-wheelers, and real tractors. He loved all kinds of toys, even in his adulthood. During planting and harvesting seasons, Ryan couldn't wait to get out of school and into the cab of a tractor. There was never any question about what Ryan wanted to be when he grew up. He was a farmer through and through. It was also clear from a young age that Ryan had a fondness for little ones. I have so many photos of Ryan holding and playing with my babies, his nieces and nephews. Even more than being a farmer, he wanted to be a dad. Nothing made him prouder and more overjoyed than having a family of his own. His 4 children, Cole, Cade, Gable, and Cortland, were his most cherished treasures, and he loved them with every ounce of his being. On June 18th, 2021, all of this was taken from Ryan, and Ryan was taken from us. Back in July, just 2 months ago, we all heard the horrific details of the day that Ryan was murdered and the absolutely disgusting 5 months of planning that led up to that day. But what ensued in the coming months, weeks, coming days, weeks, months, and years was atrocious. Imagine your brother had been murdered. Imagine the person responsible for his murder was living in your brother's home along with him and his 3 young children. The heinous crime was committed in their home while 3 of the children slept upstairs. No efforts were made by the person responsible to protect his children from either the purported random intruder or from the horrific crime scene. Within 24 hours, you've been assured by law enforcement that the evidence collected thus far undeniably demonstrates her involvement. Though much of the evidence is unable to be disclosed, you know just enough to begin putting the pieces together. Meanwhile, you are grieving and processing the murder of your brother. You are planning a funeral, all the details being decided alongside your brother's murderer. And that's just the beginning. The person responsible for your brother's murder now has custody of your brother's children. This person, who is typically a passionate, intense, assertive, and aggressive person, has nothing to share with law enforcement, offers no details or insights into who or how someone could come into their home and murder your brother, and never seeks a single update on the status of the case from law enforcement. Over the next 32 months, you want to see your brother's children. You want to remain part of their lives. You want them to know how important they are to you. But in order to do that, you have to spend birthdays, holidays, vacations, other family events, and community activities with your brother's murderer. You want to be there for anything and everything your niece and nephews might need. But along with spending time with the kids, you must also spend time with your brother's murderer. You want to help support their well-being and provide for their basic needs if they have lost not only their father, but the place they could call home. So you provide them and your brother's murderer with family acreage. During all this time, your brother's murder is parading around the community, portraying herself as a grieving widow and a victim. She is manipulating anyone and everyone who would listen. She rarely ever speaks your brother's name, only occasionally mentioning him in conversation, and then referring to him only as husband. She sought praise and accolades for her actions, her efforts in building this new life for herself and her children. The new life that began when she murdered your brother. She even expresses to others how she felt the Cooper family was failing to support her and the children, like we had just abandoned them altogether and were choosing to exclude them from our family. Thankfully, many could see through her lies, but unfortunately, many others were caught up in her manipulation. As much as we wanted to face Ryan's murderer, confront her about her actions, to tell her we weren't believing her lies, we had to keep up the facade. We continued to hug her. We continued to tell her we loved her. All the while, she's still believing she's successfully hiding her deepest, darkest secret, that she murdered our brother in cold blood. We did that for the children, to protect and maintain our relationship with Ryan's children. And we did that to allow the investigators time to assemble and prepare the solid, masterful, and airtight case we heard at trial. Ryan, we will never stop saying Ryan's name. We will never stop celebrating Ryan's life. And we will never stop supporting Ryan's greatest and most beautiful legacy, his children. Cole, Cade, Cable, and Cortland will forever know how much their father loved them and how so very proud of them he was. Ryan will forever be remembered as a wonderful father, son, brother, uncle, friend, truck driver, neighbor. He was a man of few words. He spent hours on the phone, hours on end, making phone calls. And you all remember the headset and the miles and miles he paced while talking on his phone. And though it seemed he only had a few close friends, the attendance at his funeral and the miles-long line of semis at his funeral procession say the most about who he was to our community. Ryan was sentenced to death by this murderer. Those of us left on earth were sentenced to life without Ryan. There is no justice. There will be no forgiveness. What I hope for now is simply closure. There is no sentence for you that would adequately punish you for your evil, vile, selfish, delusional, and narcissistic actions. I will waste no time and no energy in addressing you about that. My full, complete, and final message to you is go to hell. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any further victim impact statements, Mr. Ringel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. That at this time, Ms. Cooper is adjudicated to be guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree in violation of Iowa Code Section 701.7 and 707.2, Parent 1, Parent A, and judgment is entered accordingly. She is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Her custody is placed with the Director of the Division of Adult Corrections for temporary custody with the County Sheriff. Ms. Cooper shall pay victim restitution to the estate of Ryan Cooper in the amount of $150,000 as required by Iowa Code Section 910.3B, Parent 1.
Why do they give those kind of awardments? Only way that that's going to happen if somebody leaves her that kind of money. She's never going to be able to work enough to get that paid off from jail.
And Mr. Hawbaker, there was a supplemental restitution request to Crime Victim Services, I believe, in the amount of $14,944.76. Any objection to that? I should also make restitution in that amount to Crime Victim Compensation Program. Ms. Cooper shall also make restitution for court costs in the amount established by the clerk of court and restitution for court-appointed counsel fees. Are you requesting any fees, Mr. Hawbaker?
No, Your Honor.
With respect to Category B restitution, I've reviewed an affidavit that Mr. Hawbaker has. Mr. Ringel, have you seen that?
I have, Your Honor, yes.
Does the state have any objection to me making a decision based on Ms. Cooper's ability to pay Category B restitution based on my review of that affidavit?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, having reviewed that affidavit, I will waive payment of Category B restitution in Ms. Cooper's case. As required by Chapter 81 of the Iowa Criminal Code, Ms. Cooper shall provide a DNA sample to the Department of Correctional Services for purposes of DNA profiling based on the nature of the offense and as required by Iowa Code Section 811.1. There's no bail in this case. As far as the reasons for my sentence are concerned, the sentence imposes a mandatory sentence about which the court has no discretion. I will say, this was a senseless crime. Mr. Cooper was, by what I heard at trial and from the statements I heard today, a hardworking, kind, generous man who loved his children and his many friends. Ms. Cooper, your actions, whether you were the one who shot Mr. Cooper or whether as a result of aiding and abetting Houston Danker resulted in his death, they deprived your children of not only a father, but of a mother. And I can't really state any more eloquently than was stated in the victim impact statements, the broader impact it's had on Mr. Cooper's many friends and family. Ms. Cooper, I do need to inform you that you have a right to appeal this case to the Iowa Supreme Court. If you're unable to pay the cost of an appeal, you have the right to apply to this court for appointment of counsel and furnishing them any necessary transcripts of relevant proceedings. All is provided for in Iowa Criminal Code, Chapter 814. If you do want to appeal, you have to perfect your appeal by filing a written notice of appeal with the Tama County Clerk of Court no later than 30 days from today's date. Perfection of your appeal on that matter is jurisdictional. Failure to comply with the provisions set out in Iowa Criminal Code Chapter 814 would preclude you from your right to pursue an appeal. If you do want to appeal, you have to have a copy of your notice of appeal served on or delivered to the Iowa Attorney General's office. I believe that concludes the record. Mr. Ringel, is there any further record that the state believes needs to be made at this point?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Hawbaker, any further record that you believe needs to be made?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then that will conclude the record. Counsel, can I just, when you get a moment, can I talk to each of you just real quick?
I believe that is the number. Yeah. But if she inherits anything, it will all go to her. Fine. Only depends on how much she inherits. If it's $1 million, mine's paid off. Hers. Depends. That's mom. That's her mama. Be her aunt or her sister. That's a little older. But then definitely things a lot of states do that, but they don't take 100%. They do have to, I believe, for them to be personal hygiene. But you know, they do take it something. Yeah, I think they will. Of course, those are the victim's family. See, that's the thing, though. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, one family is rejoicing at the fact that there's justice, but yet grieving because justice won't bring back their loved one. Another family is grieving the loss of the family member that's going away forever. And it's horrible. There really is no winner in this. There is no. The family will have to grieve the loss. Her family will be grieving the loss of a relationship with her, especially parents. I mean, come on, we all have our children. We never imagine our children are going to grow up driving me crazy. Our children would grow up to become criminals. You know, we don't ever believe that. And it's a hard pill to swallow. So there's not. I'm Googling it. Yes, in Iowa, if you're convicted and owe restitution, money deposited in your inmate account, commissary canteen account can be taken by the state to pay towards the restitution. Under the code, restitutions include payment to victims, court costs, fines, and certain fees. The IDOC is required to deduct a portion of the deposits made to the inmate's account to apply towards outstanding restitution. It can withhold up to 50% of all money deposited. This means your family friends put 100 on your books, you keep 50. But it cannot be more than 50%. Yeah. So, that sucks. But here's the thing. She can be declared an indigent, and they can petition to have that waived. They can fight it. They can fight it. Okay, it looks like we're going to have a special guest on Sunday. I will let you know more about that later. I'm going to have to go get ready for that. She can work in the kitchen, laundry, whatever, and that license plates, whatever they do, and that money can be sent to the fees. She will spend time fighting and fighting. Yeah. She's got a lot of appeals that she's going to be fighting, so that's going to be probably one of them. That's a lot of money. Not enough. And they'll probably never see all of it. Truth be told. Okay, so I've got to get to work because I've got to get ready for a very special live. We are having the nephew of Tim Smith, the victim in the Herbert Willie, if I said it right, trial that was just convicted and sentenced to life without parole. We will be having him on Sunday. Am I still coming in and out, or is my sound stable? I think that happens when the video is engaged. But mods, is my sound good? Let me know in our chat. I think it's just when the cord is on. I think it's competing. I'm going to have to figure that out. So y'all have a fabulous day. I've got a bunch of stuff to get done. I got to start getting ready for this interview. So we'll see all of y'all Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. It will not be a members only live. Well, what I could do is allow the members to have a members only time. So what we can do is open up the questions at the end of the time for members only. So we'll look and see if how we can do that. All right, wonderful. Okay, guys. Well, you guys, just with court, okay, are fabulous. You've been a blessing to me today, but I'm going to run. I hope to see all of you on Sunday evening, and please make sure to share the live when I get it posted by tomorrow morning. Okay? See you later.
Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care.